Hello and welcome to Cracked Open with Coach Kristin. I am Coach Kristin. I've been absent. I have really been in a transformation, a cocoon. I've been in the goo of the cocoon, if I'm being honest. So from now on, I've decided there's no more curating. There's no more perfect time to film a YouTube. There's no more, I want to wait until I have something to say that might be really picked up by someone who will make me very visible. No. When I went through the goo, the ringer that I've been through, the polishing of the diamond that I've been going through since, for being honest, March of 2024. So over a year. If I don't mention that being in the goo, being in the mess, and showing up from the mess, it's real hard to do. And I did give myself that challenge for the month of May to do that. And I'm proud of how I showed up, especially during such a challenging time. And what I'm excited to share with you is I am no longer available for my internal dialogue to tell me now's not the time to film something, or no one really cares about that story. Keep that one to yourself. I'm not available for any of that. I'm also not available for, we can't talk about that. What if your mom watches this? The truth is, my mom is one of my best friends. So odds are she already knows about this. But to coach Kristin, the one who felt like I needed to show up and talk about certain things to be a in-demand coach. Yeah, that girl, she's gone. She's gone, thankfully. So, in the spirit of true authenticity, I am really excited to be back in my seat at my desk with you to talk about things that are resonating in my life, in my students' lives, in my clients' lives, in my community's lives, and what we're doing about it. Because here at Cracked Open and in any place that I show up, we end the stigma. We don't play with shame unless we're finding a way to minimize it or eradicate it completely. And we're authentic. And sometimes authentic means the lighting ain't perfect. Sometimes authentic means, well, I took some notes, but they're pretty much scribble scrabble. And what if this doesn't resonate with anybody? And then here's what I've learned in the past year and a half of polishing is it will land on someone, because what I'm seeking, which is to help thousands of people heal from trauma and addiction, what I'm seeking is seeking me. And I believe that with my whole heart. So even if just one person sees this and they're like, yeah, you know what? Me too. That resonates. Then my job is done. So that being said, this conversation is going to be real, authentic, gritty, and it's going to come with solutions. And I look forward to guiding you now that I'm on the light at the end of the tunnel side of this journey. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that this conversation was sparked by what my yoga instructor would call a pistachio moment. And a pistachio moment is something that feels like a coincidence or serendipitous or, oh my gosh, can you believe that just happened? Right place at the right time. So those are all pistachio moments. To me, and what we're going to talk about that has to do with Lionsgate, hundreds of thousands, millions of pistachio moments came across and went throughout my entire life. And it's only been in the past year and a half that I've had my eyes open to notice them. It's only been in the last, 6 months or so that I've looked at them all, the good and the bad, as moments meant to point me in the right direction. So, with that being said, I had a pistachio moment. In my bathroom, I have a bulletin board where while I brush my teeth or put makeup on, it's behind my mirror. So I see it in my reflection every time I go in my bathroom. And in that bulletin board, in my reflection, I see the vacation home I want to own up in the foothills someday. I see the clawfoot tub, freestanding bathtub that I've dreamt of taking a bath in my whole life. I have quotes. I have a resort in Sedona that I want to revisit. How blessed that I've already been there once. See, that sounds weird. And that's what we're going to talk about is, did you think a year ago you would hear me saying words like how blessed? No, because I would have laughed at that. I would have been like, hashtag blessed, have fun with that. Because I was hurt and I was wounded. Now, if you're thinking there's a big ass plot twist right here, and I'm going to yank down my sweater to show you a big old golden cross, don't worry, it's not going to happen. Um, I haven't changed my voting status. There are a lot of things that are still very much Kristin. Here's what's changed. Here's what I think has saved this now second part of my life feeling like it was spared is I have something to believe in now. And I haven't had something to believe in more than 30 years. Because in 1992, I was abused by a youth pastor at my church. And I was talking to my mom about it today. We went to a celebration of life for very, very long time family friends who've known me the whole 9 yards, seen all iterations of Kristin. And believe you me, there's a lot of them. And being in a church setting, even a year ago, would have made me feel like itchy, a little uncomfortable, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Because the trauma of being sexually abused by someone you trust is massive, no matter who that person is. Someone you trust or someone you don't trust. The being abused in that manner is, I've heard it described as the closest thing to not being alive as murder. And I agree with that. It's the closest crime to murder that someone survives. And I'm living proof of that. I believe that quote with all my heart. So for me to walk into a church or be around religion, people in religion, is few and far between. I was extremely angry with God, extremely, because not only was I betrayed by this youth pastor and the leaders of the church, if I'm being honest, I was betrayed my identity. Little Kristin was a church girl. For example, I played the piano for the youth group. So I was there Wednesday for practice and Thursday for youth group. I was in two choirs. So I had two choir practices, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday. Youth group was Thursday. Usually we had a Friday night outing. Did that, bowling, what have you. Saturday, probably more practice or another youth group. I lived at the church, you guys. So it wasn't just, which is bad enough, being abused by a youth pastor. It was also having my whole identity stripped away, my whole belief system yanked away. Not just my belief in myself, which was yanked away violently. Not just my belief in people that were supposed to protect me, yanked away violently. I was betrayed in my belief, my core beliefs of what I was taught Christians were, what I was taught God and Jesus were, what I was taught things don't go bad for people who follow and have Jesus in their heart and get baptized and play it for offering every single Sunday, both services. So betrayal is a word that doesn't even for a second cut the mustard. It was like Kristin at 15 was, I'm picturing the movie Braveheart, where they hang him up like that and they pull his arms up. Racking. It's called racking. They pull his arms up and they pull his legs out until they pull his body, and he doesn't break in half. Spoiler alert. But little Kristin did. Twice. At 6 and at 15. And little did she know that she would again at 39. I hated God. He betrayed me. And people that follow Jesus, they betrayed me too. So my viewpoint for 30 years was not only nothing to believe in, it was vile resentment, anger, fury toward how I was treated by that church, by those people, and by God. Now, back to Lionsgate Portal. I didn't believe in a world where someone can believe in many different things. Now that I'm a grown woman, I understand that someone can believe in anything they want. And I love that. That wasn't how I grew up. Now I have been put in this situation where I need, desire to meditate. And meditation and prayer are very, very close together. And because I had this block toward the church, God, religion, anything that had to do with prayer, anything Christian, Bible, religion related, was on my like aversion list. And at the beginning of this year, I went through a real hard time. In January, you know what? I'm going to back it up. In November, uh, one of my videos went viral on TikTok. And it was a video of me as a trauma professional listening to a podcaster joke about being excited to SA or assault of a intimate nature women because it's legal now in his mind. And your body, my whatever. I don't even want to repeat it. Your body, my choice is what he kept saying. I've posted almost 100 pieces of content a month for the past 4 years. I love making content. I love being a coach. I love helping people heal. I love helping people change their relationship with addiction. But mostly, my top most favorite is helping other women who survived SA trauma like me. Helping them step into who the F they were born to be, like I finally have. And what's making me cry is this video went viral. It went viral, you guys. I haven't looked at it lately, but at the last I looked at it, had like a million something. I don't even know how many shares, reposts, whatever. And of all of those, there were so many disgusting, hateful comments that my brother and I started to make a spreadsheet to keep track and maybe show the FBI or police or no one, because why would that even matter in this day and age? I digress. Having that video go viral and shake my sense of safety and security to the point where I didn't want to film content anymore. I didn't want to be on social media anymore. I took a huge break. During that time, I moved from the neighborhood and home that I raised my children in. And the grief that came with that was unexpected, to say the least. Becoming an empty nester, even though I live with my daughter, we have very separate lives and very rarely get to be in the same place at the same time. And my son, about once a week, we get to hang out. And don't get me wrong, I'm so grateful for that. But for a mama who's gone for the past 21 years with one child on one side and one child on the other, being an empty nester, even 3 nights a week, was a huge difference from a bustling house with four people where I made dinner every single night. Well, I wasn't really honoring this grief at the time because of all of this PTSD and triggers and everything that had come up from a result of going through this cyberbullying, essentially, became this perfect storm of implosion to where I felt like I couldn't create content. I felt like I wasn't able to coach properly. I felt like I wasn't able to network. Like I just, everything got triggered and I just like went into a cocoon and not to just hibernate for a couple weeks. Like, whew. And in the meantime, I had to keep things going. I had to keep, like, we had to move. I had to find a place to live. I, I had to find a side job. My practice was struggling because I was struggling. So I had to find a side job. And I went through a job scam. And I'll make a video about that because I really, really want to protect people that are in the job market right now. It was extremely high level sophistication that was used to make me think that this was not just me, my circle, my loved ones. Like it, you'll be shocked at how legit this was and the amount of damage that they were able to cause in such a short amount of time. Tens of thousands of dollars transactionally moving back and forth through my business and checking personal accounts and identity theft and the whole nine yards. The worst you could think of as far as identity theft, like the horror stories, was my whole world at that time. So come to March. We're now a year away from March 2023, where I lost one of my dearest and best friends since junior high. And that had definitely taken a toll on me. But now we're a year after that, and I'm still getting settled in my new place, still trying to figure out, I still need to make more income because I had two certifications back to back and they're really expensive and I still have lots of business expenses. But now I'm terrified to look for a job after the job scam in January. So things just kept like, felt like the waves were getting higher and higher and higher. And by June, I had realized that I'm going to have to fold the business. In fact, several of my business, like vendors, I called and I said, "Hey, I've folded forward progression and I can no longer have these services because I no longer have a business." And even though I had a couple of coaching clients, it was a matter of like just a couple that I've worked with for years. I was no longer making new content, therefore I'm not reaching new people. I was scared to network. I mean, it was getting so bad financially, emotionally. I was really struggling with my sobriety. Um, I was really struggling with my identity. Like maybe I'm not even supposed to be a coach. Like maybe that's why this is happening to me. And something kept telling me, just hang on a little bit longer. Hang on a little bit longer. And I'm like, a little bit longer? This has been going on for a year and a half. Like, What do you mean? How am I supposed to hang on a little bit longer? And I kept hearing, just a little bit longer. And at this point, from March to June, end of June, I had let go of so many things, people, clothing, housewares, places, hobbies. Like I was shedding left and right, painfully, not shedding in a way like taking clothes from your closet to Goodwill. In a, I'm giving away the shirt I wore and have kept for 26 years that I wore on the first date with my children's father. Stuff like that. Because a girl, anybody really, who's survived childhood trauma, we get real attached to things. Sometimes they remind us of the childhood that was taken from us. And sometimes they're just things that make us feel, I don't know, cozy, like this, comfortable, safe. And so to let go of these things didn't feel like shedding, like, oh, I feel so light. It felt like giving birth, felt like labor pains to let go of some of this stuff. And even things like from my divorce, my ex and I were on a checking account for years after our divorce because we're friends. Like we're not going to screw each other over financially. So it's just easier, just leave it on. Well, after the identity theft, we had to make those changes. Guess what? We needed to make those changes. I see that today, which brings me back to something to believe in. Because if I didn't believe in anything and I had not let any of the healing work that I've busted my you know what to do over the last decade, if none of that work softened my heart and helped me to find acceptance and maybe even a smidge of forgiveness, then I don't think I'd be sober right now. I don't think I'd be coaching right now. I don't think I'd be a hypnotherapist right now. I don't think I'd be a yoga teacher either. Because I think I would have relapsed and I don't think I would have made it back. So whatever little voice told me, hang on a little bit longer, gave me something to believe in. Shortly after that, I had a client who learned to knit. And because when you're when you're newly sober, it's good to like come up with new hobbies. And they were learning to knit. And they knitted me a little bag. Beautiful, beautiful bag. And wrote me a letter inside the bag. And I won't share all what the letter said, but along the lines of I've helped him reclaim his life. And how important our work together is to him. And to me, that was a sign to not stop coaching the next day. I had a call with Sam, who is started in my life as a client, but is now one of my dearest, most cherished friends. And we were having a session. And I can say this because he's been on this show. He is very vocal that we work together, so I'm not outing anybody. And he's like, I love when you are just you and you're authentic and you're real and you're not Coach Kristin. And he's like, don't get me wrong, I appreciate Coach Kristin, but I really resonate with Kristin, who's struggling financially and went through identity theft and almost got evicted and is in the messiest, messy part of her life since the last 5 years. I dig her. More of her, please. So the messages I was receiving were keep going. You're not done here yet. Something to believe in. In March, end of March, my best friend and mentor, Jory, invited me to go do yoga. As you guys know, I'm obsessed with yoga. It's my therapy. It helps me so much. She invited me to do yoga at a local studio. And I joined the studio right around the time I was finishing up my yoga certification. So, beginning of the spring. And in my yoga certification, they talked about this weird kind of culty yoga where they chant and like hold their hands like that. And I was like, I don't know, I'm never doing that because it reminds me too much of church praying as a little kid. You're never going to catch me doing that. But I had to learn about chanting and I had to learn about holding a mantra because I needed that information to pass my yoga certification. Kundalini is the yoga style I'm talking about. And I had to know all styles of yoga to pass my certification. And this is one of them. And I was like, chanting, that's weird. And then I watched the video and I was like, yeah, that's freaking weird, man. Here's where I got snagged in a good way. Snagged like on the line, like a fish. I'm hooked in a good way. Is the part where they said chanting opens your throat chakra and stimulates your pituitary gland. And as someone who studies trauma, those are all good things to be stimulating. As a woman who's vehemently committed to healing her brain, body, whole self from trauma for once and for all, this is good information for me. I am interested. So it ended up being a yoga studio that not only have I found a place to practice with other humans, it's in my community, so I've met new neighbors. It has been a place for me to explore healing in using my body, my voice, my chakras, chanting, something to believe in. Now, the pistachio moment was I was in my bedroom and this note caught my eye. It's like underneath something on that bulletin board and it was like hanging out the bottom. And I was like, what is that? And it says, this is what I will achieve or experience on or before August 8th, 2025. today. I will have consistent profit earning months. I will be attracting new clients through rapid transformational therapy. I will attend an RTT live event. I will travel the world to speak on stages, specifically Chicago, New York, Boston, Greece, New Orleans. It says in the side margin, Italy. I will continue to trust myself. I will make full-time income with a 4-day work week. I will speak at corporations about healing trauma and mindful consumption. I will go on a book tour. I will be driving my car I paid cash for. Well, if you told me I had to have the whole list in order to believe in something, I'd tell you that's tall order because I have a very big imagination. But what if I told you that since the end of May, almost, not my car, I still have Madge. She's almost 20 years old. But God, she's such a good car. I have completed almost everything on this. And I had the worst, hardest, most challenging, fearful, okay, second worst year of my life. And I was still able to complete all of that in just a couple of months because I didn't give up, because I had something to believe in. So here's what I'm believing in these days. I do believe in God. I do believe in prayer. I do believe in Jesus. And that's about where that ends. I believe in Mary Magdalene. I don't believe in the version I was taught. I believe in Mother Mary. I don't believe in the version most people picture. I believe in goddesses. I believe in astrology, numerology. I believe in the magic of the law of attraction. I believe in kindness. I believe in karma. I believe in the golden rule, do unto others. And when I pray, it's interesting. It's not like, dear God, like when I was little. Dear God, it's me, Margaret. Anybody else as old as me and knows what that book means? Damn, I love that book. My best friend, if she's watching this, she will be laughing, Barbara, because she will know why I'm laughing about that book. Little Kristin and this Kristin love anything like, ooh, risque. And back then, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret was hella risque. I'm still defining what I believe in. But I do know, and I do know that what my belief used to be was I don't believe in anything isn't true. Because I do believe in magic. I do believe in kindness. I do believe in source. I do believe in God. I do believe in good will prevail. And I do believe in be the change you wish to see in the world. So, as I'm still defining what I believe in, the fact that I am here and I'm alive and I'm still committed to healing myself and helping others heal along the way, that I'm still here and committed to creating more content, whether this resonates or not, just for the love of creating content that lets me share. I'm so, so grateful that I didn't give up on my coaching business, my hypnotherapy, my yoga, my recovery, myself. I feel polished. I feel radiant. I wouldn't trade nothing for my journey now. Don't give up. Don't give up. That's all my notes. I've covered everything I wanted to share in kind of a chaotic manner. So if you've stuck around to this point, please drop a heart in the comments so that I can thank you personally because this was a long-winded one. We had a lot of ground to cover, and you deserve this little nugget if you stuck around to the end because this is actually quite funny. I think it's pretty crazy that Kristin today spent the day honoring a friend of our family in a church, a very traditional church. And tonight, I'm going to a Sangha, which is a gathering of people who study yoga. And we're going to be kind of doing a Lionsgate portal chanting circle. I've never done a chanting circle. I've seen a lot of crazy things come out of people's mouths in church over the years, but I've never been to an actual chanting circle. So I will report back. I'm looking forward to it. I've got to say, I love this stage of my life where I finally have something to believe in. And it's not defined by anybody else but me. And it works for me. And I love this little life I've carved out for myself. And I love that I didn't give up. And I love that I get to basically go to a witchy Lionsgate portal ceremony tonight. It's wild. And I love it. And I love you. And I'm so grateful for this community, for this space to be able to share my musings. So thank you. I appreciate you. More to come. Bye for now.